Buongiorno, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about discontinued fragrances. So not only am I going to share with you my discontinued fragrance collection, I will also talk about why do brands discontinue a fragrance, and also will mention how can you spot or know that your favorite fragrance is being discontinued. So I will leave timestamps on this video, so if you want to skip ahead maybe to the part where I talk about how to spot or how to know that a fragrance is discontinued, or the part where I show my discontinued fragrances, you can skip ahead to that part. I will start, however, by talking about why do brands discontinue, or also why do they reformulate a fragrance. But before talking about that, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Noir, and on this channel I mostly talk about fragrances. So if you are a fragrance lover, then please consider subscribing and also hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload any new video. Also follow me on Instagram, where I post some exclusive content that I don't do here on YouTube. And without further ado, let's start. If you hear any noises, I am so sorry. And my neighbors are doing some work and it's crazy. Anyway, why do brands discontinue a fragrance? And the short answer would be because the fragrance failed. So yeah, they created a fragrance and it didn't sell well, which is the case for a lot of fragrances. So after a while of doing well, no one buys the fragrance anymore. At the top of my head, I think it would be the case, because I just filmed a video about Narciso Rodriguez, would be like the eau de toilette of Rouge, the eau de toilette of Fleur Masque. But it's not the case for every fragrance. More often, it would be due to regulations. And here we have to talk about IFRA. So what is IFRA? IFRA is the International Fragrance Association, and it's a non-governmental association, and its job is to regulate the safe usage of aromatic substance. And it was created back, I think, in 1973, if I'm not mistaken. So why is a non-governmental association so important? Because its regulation is followed by the biggest manufacturers of perfumes, like Symrise, like Femme. So all the biggest names follow its regulation. They have their own research that is paid by corporations. So you see why a lot of people are skeptic about IFRA, but their work is published in a previewed journal. It's also available on their website. So there is transparency in this aspect. And due to this regulation, a lot of substance can be totally banned or regulated in how much you can use in each perfume. Due to IFRA, we have regulations on just recently Lilia, I don't know how to pronounce it. We have oak moss, we have jasmine, a lot of notes. And sometimes like the regulations they put is almost non-existent. So no one uses so much, I don't know, of jasmine in his fragrances. Maybe one fragrance in the world has so much jasmine in it. But anyway, it's not, sometimes it's a little bit blown out of proportions. For example, oak moss was not banned, but like regulated to be used in very, very small amounts because they found it can cause allergic reaction. And I can testify to that actually, because I personally noticed that when I use fragrances that have a big dose of oak moss, so like cheap fragrances, and I'm talking about like a bit of old school fragrances, so I know that there is a lot of real oak moss in them. If I use that fragrance a few consecutive days, I get allergic reaction. Actually, I have quite a sensitive skin. So you see, there is truth to it. But when something like that happens, brands have two options. Or they eliminate the fragrance altogether because they cannot work around this note, if that makes any sense. So a fragrance gets totally discontinued. In the majority of cases, they work around this note. So they try to replace this note with others that can give the same effect. Recently, that was the case of Lilial or Lila, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm not a chemist. That is a synthetic note used to recreate a lot of fragrances that have Lily of the Valley, for example. And a lot of very famous, actually, I was surprised, a lot of very famous fragrances have this note in it. We have Amour Amour from Cacharel, we have Cinema from Yves Saint Laurent, Hypnose from Lancome, Alien, the EDT. So a lot of fragrances, but a lot of them have already like worked around this note. So this is one of the reasons why fragrances get reformulated. Another reason is actually the natural ingredient are or became hard to find or too expensive to use in this perfume and maintain like the same price tag. And I think that will be the issue more often in the future. And another issue that is in the case of a lot of fragrances that were in the 90s and the 70s especially is the ban of natural musk and, animalic notes. And I totally agree with that. If you know how they get these ingredients, you will be shocked and you will never wear these perfumes. Or maybe, I would say the majority of you, if you know how they get these animalic notes, you will not wear a perfume that has any of these substances in them. So as you can see, it's not always like a bad thing. Of course, we have a lot of fragrances that we lost to reformulation, especially if we are speaking about this era. For me, for example, it's Poison from Dior, it's Opium from Yves Saint Laurent, especially these two, because they are linked to my memory, my childhood memory. I am quite upset that they were reformulated. For me, especially, it's a price I am totally willing to pay for ending a suffering of an animal. So anyway, now let's move to another reason that in my opinion, is often not talked about when a fragrance gets discontinued. And that is reimagining like a certain line or a brand in general. And I feel personally that this is the issue of Maison Lancome. Now, I am the biggest fan of Maison Lancome fragrances. They are so unique and the bottles and everything is excellent. But in the last 2 years, I am a little bit disappointed, to be honest. So in general, Maison Lancome fragrances were very, very, very unique. So a true private collection. It's not just like, something different to the regular collection. No, there was a vision behind it, in my opinion, at least. So fragrances that were not mass-pleasing scents, maybe a few, yes, but not really. They were very unique, very niche-like. And the thing is that Maison Lancome not only discontinued so many fragrances recently, so I'm talking about Oud Ambroisie, or Roses Berberanza, they discontinued Parfait des Roses, Tuberose Castan. But then in the last 2 years, they came out with very, not bad fragrances, but very disappointing fragrances. Fragrances that are not so special. So I have one of them. This is Rose Pionia. They came out with L'Eau Jasmin, and just this year they came out with a rose fragrance. And all of them are this very light, fresh, floral fragrances. Not really special. They are nice, nothing wrong about them, but not so special. So in my opinion, I think they have now a new vision for this line, and it's going toward mass pleasing, or maybe fragrances that are geared toward special markets. So these light, fresh florals usually are best sellers in the Far East. So maybe these are fragrances that are more geared to that market. I have no idea. But this is how I interpret the recent discontinuation of fragrances in that line in particular, and like the disappointing new releases, in my opinion. And it's the same fear I have that Narciso Rodriguez may be taking in the future. I hope not, because I'm a fan of that brand so much. So I hope it's not the case. And sometimes it's not a new vision, like an artistic vision for the brand. Sometimes it's a total marketing issue, because a lot of brands that were bought by big companies suffered the same. For example, Mugler. I was never a fan of Mugler, to be honest, but his fragrances were quite unique. And now, since I think it's L'Oreal who bought Mugler, a lot of fragrances that were like cult favorite are discontinued. They are coming out with a little bit more of a mass-pleasing sense, so not this Mugler DNA in them. As I have the same fear for Atelier Cologne. Tom Ford was bought recently from Estée Lauder. Is it Estée Lauder? I don't know, but Anyway, so yeah, new branding, new vision for the brand or for the line is one of the reasons to discontinue a lot of fragrances. Another issue with discontinuing fragrances is that sometimes brand just discontinue a fragrance from certain countries or just make it limited to certain stores. This is the case of a lot of fragrances from La Collection Privée, from Christian Dior. Mitza, I think, is limited to certain stores. Huercanage. I know that Atelier Cologne pulled out North America and then they didn't, so I don't know what is the situation going on there. And it's the case, I think, I'm not sure, that it's the case for Balenciaga Flora Botanica, because it has been years that they are talking about this fragrance being discontinued, and I can regularly find it in the places where I usually find it here in Italy. So it was never available like in Sephora and these stores. It was always in like a department store or online, and I still can find it. So I think this is the case for Flora Botanica. Now let's talk about how can you know that a fragrance is discontinued. And you may say, Noura, it's well known that a fragrance is discontinued. Actually, no. It's not like a brand will come out and see, hi customers, this fragrance is going to be discontinued, so if you want it, get it. No. And no brand is announcing that it's discontinuing a fragrance. But we have some ways to know. The first way is, of course, if you have connections to this brand, is yes, to ask them directly. Otherwise, we go by some indications. And of course, someone would say you can go on the website of like the brand and see if the fragrance is available or not. Also, this is not always the case. So this is your best chance to know if a fragrance is discontinued or not. It's just to go on their website, their official website, and see if it's still in their catalog. But the thing is that a lot of brands actually do not update. For example, Narciso Rodriguez, it was very long time until they finally took the Narciso Eau de Toilette from their catalog online. So for the longest time, people thought that fragrance is not discontinued because it was on their website, while it was in reality not available anymore. So it's not like the safest way. I would put a disclaimer here. There is no safe way to know that a fragrance is discontinued, by the way, until it's like totally gone and you can find it, of course. So I am just going to talk about my personal experience, how I decide if this perfume may or may be not discontinued. Now, the first sign that a certain fragrance is discontinued when suddenly you find it heavily discounted on a lot of websites, especially the big retailers. So Sephora here in Europe, for example, Douglas. This is not necessarily, but a big indicative that maybe this fragrance is going to be discontinued. This is the issue, for example, with Narciso Rouge Eau de Toilette. Suddenly I found that this perfume is heavily discounted, especially in not sale season. When it's off season and they are heavily discounting fragrance, big indicative that it is going to be discontinued. It's not a rule, because sometimes like these big retailers just want to get rid of old fragrances. So they do that to get rid of the ones that they have now. And then you will find the fragrance available in like, online sites and so on. And other like small perfumeries. Another way, if you go to local small perfumeries and ask the person there. I am talking about Italy here. So my local perfumery, it's a very small town, it's a small shop. So the owner of this perfumery is in direct contact with the brand or the representative. And usually when a fragrance is not available on the catalog anymore, he or she will know. So this is also another way to know if a fragrance is discontinued. Just go to your local perfume shop, the smaller the better, and just ask them if this or that fragrance is being discontinued or not. If it's not possible, as I said, I keep an eye. If there is rumor on a fragrance that I love is being discontinued, or I see movement that it's heavily discounted, it's not like I just go and buy the fragrance. No, I just keep an eye on it. If this sale is going on, and I start to see that it's sold out in some retailers, then I pay attention and buy the fragrance. And usually by that time, the fragrance is double discounted, so sometimes half price and even more. So it's not also that I get a better deal, I also am more sure that this fragrance is discontinued. And that is the movement I personally see with Prada La Femme Intense, for example. I am seeing this one heavily discounted on the big retailers. And it already doubled. I have a backup bottle of this one because I love this fragrance. Now, is this a 100% way to know? No, but this is how I personally do it, especially if a fragrance is really important to me. And it's not like I lose something, because at the end, it's a fragrance that I love, that I know that I will use. So if I have it even like at a better price, why not? So usually the cycle of discontinued fragrances is like that. First, it goes on sale, then double sale. Then you start to find it sold out in big retails or shops, and then the fragrance goes up in price. So you want to get the fragrance in this sweet spot when it's very heavily discounted, but not yet arrived to the point where it goes up in price because it's now rare or hard to find, and a lot of people make money by selling discontinued fragrances. The good news is that to arrive to that point, it takes a lot of time, so you have the time to think and look. Especially if you buy second hand, you will find also like discontinued fragrances on second hand websites or Facebook groups at a reasonable price, without going into like the crazy prices that then they ask when the fragrance is almost impossible to find. Another thing that I have to mention is not to fall for rumors. So sometimes a fragrance does very well, that it's sold out in a lot of places, and people say, oh my god, this fragrance is being discontinued. That is the case, for example, for Rouge Malachite, that was rumored to be discontinued. And yes, actually it was sold out even on the Armani website for a while, but it was because of the big demand on this fragrance, because it was so hyped up and everyone wanted Rouge Malachite, and it was sold out everywhere. And that made me buy that fragrance, and I don't like it actually. Not a big fan of Rouge Malachite. So yeah, sometimes I fall for it also. What I want to say is not to fall for rumors. Just keep an eye. If you hear a rumor that your favorite fragrance is being discontinued, don't panic. Just keep an eye on the fragrance on different websites and wait. This will be my advice. And before sharing my discontinued fragrance collection, I want to talk a little bit about limited edition fragrances. And I have an opinion about them actually. I find limited edition fragrances are really a way for brands to make a lot of money and not more. If you are sure like a fragrance is really good, why not make it permanent in your collection? Just make it limited edition. I find that sometimes the issue is that they bring out limited edition fragrances that are not really good, but because they are limited, everybody wants it, and there is this like rush to get it before it's totally gone. Yeah, I don't know. It's my personal opinion. I don't know how you think about it. The exception to that, I would say, are fragrances that are regularly have a limited edition each year. And I'm talking about light blue here. Every year before summer, Dolce & Gabbana comes out with a limited edition fragrance from a light blue. This has been the issue for years and years and years. And I feel like in this case, it makes sense. So you just modify a note or two in a fragrance, you add something, you take something out, you make it a little bit different, the fragrance is almost the same. And I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I love light blue, but I feel like, yeah, this is something that I like. I didn't understand, for example, when Jean Paul Gaultier came out with La Belle Fleur Terrible and made it a limited edition. Why? I didn't get that. And it was, I think, a nice move, because the fragrance, in my opinion, is not recommended at all. I know that a lot of people love it and like it. I personally would never recommend Fleur Terrible. So yeah, but I was tempted to get it because of the bottle, because it's limited edition. So you see, it works. Anyway, and I see like Guerlain is also doing the same thing now with Shalimar, so it's coming out with the millésime version every year. I have here the one with the vanilla. They came out with the Tonka this year, and I somehow get it in the case of Guerlain. By the way, if you want to make money, get yourself one of these millésime fragrances, because they sell out so quickly, and then people sell them for an outrageous amount of money, and actually people buy it. Anyway, and also L'Interdit Millésime, yes, it has been now 2 years that they are coming out with a limited edition bottle. Last year it was the Jasmine one, and the one before I don't remember. But yeah, I feel like it's also a trend that is going on. Anyway, tell me in the comments down below, what do you feel about limited edition fragrances? Now let's get to my discontinued fragrance collection, and it's quite big. I never imagined that I have so many until I did my declutter, and I noticed, oh my god, I have so many like discontinued or limited edition fragrances. And then the collection grew even bigger when I did like a big discontinued fragrance haul. If you didn't see it already, I will leave it linked down below and in the eye up here. So let's start without any particular order. The first one is Myrrhe Impériale from Armani Privé. I've never understood why this fragrance is being discontinued. It's a beautiful ambery fragrance. Of course, the main note here is myrrh. One of the best myrrh-focused fragrances that I smelled. I have, as you can see, the biggest bottle because I found this one actually on the Armani website. It was only available in the 400 ml. So yeah, I just got it because I knew that it's very difficult to find. This is one of the rarest fragrance, I would say, in my collection. Next is Acqua di Parma Iris Nobile. This one I found in a very small perfume shop in like a very small town. And to be honest, it's not my absolute favorite fragrance, but it's one of the few iris fragrances that I can tolerate. It's a very mature, elegant lady-like fragrance, something that my mother would wear in a way. Yeah, it's kind of an old-fashioned perfume, to be honest, but I like it. I'm not saying that I am totally in love with it, but I really like it. So Iris Nubile. Also, this one is really tough to find. Next is Narciso Eau de Parfum. I got this one actually online, but not from like a big retailer. It's a perfume shop here in Italy, but has a website, and he had one, and I grabbed it immediately when I found it. This is one of the fragrances that I didn't notice that is being discontinued because I was not really focused on it. Again, a very mature fragrance, a ladylike fragrance, has a lot of gardenia, and sometimes gardenia can have a little bit of this old school mature vibe to it. And I think this is why it's being discontinued, because maybe it's not the best seller from the brand. I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but yeah. So Narciso Eau de Parfum. Let's talk about this one. Oh my god, how much I love this fragrance. This one, I just can't imagine why would Valentino discontinue it, because it's an amazing scent. It's almond, vanilla, jasmine. It has the same vibe like Valentino Born in Roma, but without the black currant, and it's not as woody. It's more of this almond and jasmine, and so beautiful, but has big problems with performance. This one is not as hard to find as the others that I talked about, so if you can find it, get it. It's worth it. Let's talk about discontinued fragrances from Maison Lancôme. I have here Rose Perbranza, and this one I got from Lancôme, from a counter of Lancôme, half price off, because I got it in this sweet time when they want to eliminate the perfumes they have. I was never sure about it, but when I saw that it's 50% off, I got it. It was a really good deal. This is a sweet rose, a boozy rose. Very unique. Nothing like you have ever smelled before. It has a nuttiness, it has pistachio, if I remember correctly. Very unique. So not everybody's cup of tea, but it's, artistically speaking, a gorgeous scent actually. I definitely prefer it to Parfait de Rose, which is also discontinued. That one was a little bit too sweet, too jammy for my taste. This is still sweet, but not as much, and it has more complexity in it. So this is why I preferred that one. Next one we have Oud Ambroisie. This one I got actually secondhand, but it was new. This is the case where I couldn't find the fragrance anymore, but I found it on secondhand at like the regular price, or even no, I didn't pay so much for it. So I got it on a good price, let's say. It was closed and new, so I grabbed it. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this fragrance. It's a honeyed oud. So if you have oud bouquets, it has praline and has rose. This is more of a sticky honey oud. I mainly got it because I remember smelling it and I was like, and it was like a vague memory and I didn't know. So when I found it, to be honest, discontinuing a fragrance is always a trigger a little bit for me. Another discontinued fragrance is from my beloved line from Prada. This is La Femme l'Absolu. And I get why they discontinued this one, because the opening of this one is not really great, to be honest. You know, I blind bought this one. Again, it's a case that I bought this secondhand, but I mean, I paid half price, so so no damage done. And when I first received it, I sprayed it. I was, oh my god, this is a disappointment, because I love Prada La Femme and Prada La Femme Intense. So yeah, I expected something different, let's say. And the opening was not really up my alley. But in the dry down, oh my god, it's intoxicating. It's a darker, deeper side of La Femme in a way. I absolutely love it. I'm so happy that I got it. I did not regret buying this fragrance at all. But I get why they discontinue it, because you know, most people actually buy fragrances just by the first spray. So they spray it, you know, they have the opening and they say, okay, this is a nice fragrance, let's buy it. And this is, I wouldn't say like the majority of people, but like really a lot of people buy fragrances like that. And when you smell this opening, it's not really attractive. So I get it. Next, I have the limited edition from Guerlain. This is Shalimar Millissime Vanilla. I don't know how to pronounce the rest anyway. Blind bought this one and I did not regret it at all. And I'm not a fan of Shalimar, by the way. This is a gorgeous vanilla ambery fragrance masterpiece. So it's definitely worth the hype. Is it worth like paying double? Because it's already really expensive, considering that this is a 50 ml. No, I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely a gorgeous scent. If you can find it at a good price, get it. It's so good. Even if you hate Shalimar, by the way. But if you love vanilla, this is really, really, really a great vanilla fragrance. Next, we have Bulgari Aqua. Again, a blind buy. I got this one from a small perfume shop in a small town. It's such a unique scent. I know that it's not everybody's cup of tea. It has this very aquatic marine feel to it, but in a unique way. It's very hard to describe this fragrance, but if you are not into like aquatic marine fragrances, I would say you will not be into this one. I, however, like these fragrances during summers, and this is why I like it so much. But I found similar fragrances, so I'm not so upset that it's being discontinued. Next, I have a fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana, Dolce Eccelsia, and this is a fresh rose, like this musky rose, a little bit sweet, a little bit fruity, very, very simple fragrance, not mind-blowing. Again, maybe this is why they discontinued this one. They replaced it with a very mass-pleasing scent, especially for a younger generation. Dolce Rose, that one I don't like at all. In comparison with that one, this seems to be a mature fragrance. It's not, but when compared side by side, it's definitely one. So I guess Dolce & Gabbana is targeting this line in particular for a younger generation, in my opinion. And actually, Dolce Shine is one of the fragrances from that collection that I have a feeling that it's being discontinued. Shine and also Peony. I have Peony, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, these two, I have a feeling that they are being discontinued. Next, we have Tom Ford Noir pour Femme. Now, that one was a little bit like not hard to know that it's being discontinued, because it was rumored And then it was immediately, like, you saw that it was sold out on a lot of websites, and some website did even a discount on a Tom Ford, which is very rare. So I got it before it was totally gone. I got it in the perfect timing, because I think it was a month later I couldn't find it anymore. I noticed that in the US you can find fragrances that are discontinued much more easier than here in Europe. I know, maybe I am wrong, but it's just feelings that I have. So yeah, Tom Ford Noir pour Femme. I love the Noir Extreme. I got it because it's going to be discontinued, honestly. I don't know, I was afraid that I'm going to like change my mind, so I got myself a bottle, and also because I wanted to do a comparison video, which I will leave link down below if you are interested. So Noir pour Femme is this kulfi, so this kind of condensed milk gelato type of a dessert made with cardamom. There is nutmeg. It's spicy. It's spicy. It's ambery. It's gourmand, and it's definitely amped up here. So the cardamom is more present in the extremes than here. Here it's more sweet, more gourmand. And I think they discontinued this one because it's so similar to the extreme to have both of them. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Next, I have from Guerlain the Tea Azzurra. Blind bought this one, and it's a regret. I am not sure. Maybe it's bad. It doesn't smell like a fragrance that went bad, but I don't like the smell of this fragrance. I thought that this will be like amazing, because for the longest time I heard about this one. It was already discontinued here in Italy. You couldn't find it anywhere, but all the YouTubers that were, especially in the US, kept on recommending Tea Azzurra and also Limon Verde. And I was so upset because I never found them. And I love these fresh fragrances, and I love tea fragrances. So I just got it, but yeah, it's not for me. Now with the Acqua Liguria line, it's totally natural for them to discontinue fragrances, actually, because the line is made almost like a limited edition. So they keep only fragrances that do well. So I'm talking about Mandarin Basilic, Rosa Rossa. They did very, very well, and it's a cult favorite, so they kept it. I have a buying guide on Acqua Liguria, actually, that I didn't upload yet. I am keeping that video for the summer, so if you are a fan of Acqua Liguria from Guerlain, then definitely don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Hi, Noura from another day. Now I was editing the video and I realized that I forgot about some fragrances that I wanted to include in that video. The first one that I forgot about is from the Maison Lancôme line, the discontinued fragrance, of course, and this is Tuberose Castane. Now this is a gourmand tuberose fragrance, and it's quite a unique scent again. Here we have tuberose mixed with chestnut, and it's quite powdery. Very, very unique take on tuberose. And it's not for everybody. It's not a mass-pleasing scent. You have to be more adventurous, let's say, with your fragrances. And my problem with it is not the tuberose, although I'm not a tuberose lover. It just has a little bit of this old school vibe to it that I don't like. And overall, I am still not sure about this one, but definitely don't blind buy this fragrance. This is not for everybody. So Tuberose Castane from Maison Lancôme. Next is Scandale by Night. Yes, it is discontinued. And I just can't imagine why. If, in my opinion, they should discontinue Scandale, but not this one. This one is one of the most sexy fragrances I've ever smelled. When I use this one, I spray only twice, not more, because this is a potent stuff and I don't like very projecting fragrances in general. So yeah, you need just a little amount of this one. Very, very unique, sexy fragrance that you should definitely get if you love like sweet, sexy fragrances. This one, this is for you. Another one that I forgot to include is J'adore Enjoy. Now, I know, J'adore. I don't know why people hate J'adore. I love it. And I absolutely love this flanker. This is more joyful, yeah, enjoy. It's more youthful, let's say. It's kind of a summery beachy take on the original J'adore. It has like the salt note. Yeah, it has more of aquatic, fresh saltiness to it. And as you all know, I love these fragrances, so I am so happy that I have it. I got this, again, one of the fragrances that I got before knowing that they are going to be discontinued. And I'm so happy that I did. So J'adore, enjoy. The next two fragrances, I actually discovered that they are discontinued after filming that video, because as you can see, I filmed it quite a while ago. So the first one is Miss Dior Absolutely Blooming. Yes, the rumors are real. This is discontinued and confirmed to me by a Dior salesperson. And this is a sweet, fruity rose. And I honestly don't know why they discontinued this one. I have to say, I didn't see a lot of people have this one in their collection, so maybe it didn't do well. And Dior is one of the houses that has a lot of changes recently. So they reformulated again, Miss Dior. They actually also reformulated Blooming Bouquet. In the end result, they are quite similar fragrances, just letting you know, but in the opening they are a little bit different, and they changed the bottle. And of course the ink perfumer is now Frances Kurkdjian, so I think there will be a lot of changes to Dior, especially the private line. I am keeping an eye on that line to see what Frances Kurkdjian is going to do with it. Now, next one is Gucci Guilty Absolute pour Femme. Now, I am not 100% sure that this one is going to be discontinued. I had a hunch actually that it's going to get discontinued last year, because I again saw this one heavily discounted and then double discounted. So I thought, yeah, it seems like this one is going to be discontinued, and yeah, most probably it is. And this is the only Gucci fragrance that I have, and I love it. Love this fragrance. It's rose, it's patchouli, there is a woody base. There's also like these red berries, and it's such a unique scent. Again, Gucci is one of the brands that in the recent years did a rebranding. So they changed all like the fragrance line, and I expect even more changes. They already discontinued Gucci Flora that came in like these, not square, like cubes in a way. I will leave a picture here. If you love this fragrance, definitely get your hands on it. I have actually a review on it, like a comparison video that I will leave a link down below and in the eye up here. So, returning to the original video.
Now, last are the limited edition fragrances from a light blue. I have two. I have the Forever, I have the Sun. I used to have Italian Love that I decluttered. These are my favorites. I know previous to the Sun there were some flankers that a lot of people really loved. Yeah, but I can't find them, so I don't know how they smell. From all the flankers that I personally smelled, these two are the best. This is Frangipani added to the DNA, and this is Orange Blossom added to the DNA of light blue. Both of them are gorgeous, especially the Forever is my favorite, although I don't like Orange Blossom. And that says a lot. These two are available. Maybe the Sun is a little bit more difficult to find, but Forever is still available everywhere. So I would say with light blue, it takes 2 to 3 years before a fragrance totally to disappear, and usually by the second year you will find them at a fraction of the price. So if you are interested in one of them, this is the time to get them. So that was it. These were my discontinued fragrances. Please tell me in the comments down below if you have a discontinued or reformulated fragrance that is your favorite and you are so upset that it's not available anymore. And what do you think about the whole limited edition, reformulation and discontinuing a fragrance? Please tell me in the comments down below. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.